Welcome back, students. Today I will start with the second lecture on rotation and revolution. In the previous lecture, I explained the meaning of rotation and revolution and the effects of rotation. In this lecture, I will explain the effects of revolution, solstice and equinox, the angle of incidence and the duration of daylight, the cycle of seasons, and twilight in low and high latitudes. Now we move on to the effects of revolution, and the first effect is seasonal changes. The amount of heat that a place receives on Earth depends on the angle at which the sun's rays reach it. When a place receives vertical sun rays, the place gets hot. This is because the amount of heat in the direct vertical rays is concentrated on a small area, whereas the same amount of heat is spread over a larger area in the case of oblique or slanting rays. So, on 21st of June, the North Pole is tilted towards the Sun and the South Pole is tilted away from the Sun. So, there is summer in the Northern Hemisphere and winter in the Southern Hemisphere. Moving on to 22nd of December, the North Pole is tilted away from the Sun and the South Pole is tilted towards the Sun. So, there is summer in the Southern Hemisphere and winter in the Northern Hemisphere. So, revolution causes different seasons. As it is an annual cycle, the seasons repeat year after year. Since the Earth's axis is tilted, the changes are not abrupt. So if we take an example from Northern Hemisphere, from summer, we will not straight away move on to winter. After summer, we will have autumn, then winter, then spring, then summer, and so on. And in the Southern Hemisphere, after winter, we will have spring, then summer, autumn, winter again, and the cycle will go on. Perihelion and aphelion positions. Due to the elliptical orbit of the Earth, the distance between the Earth and the Sun varies. When the Earth is closest to the Sun, the position is called perihelion. At this time, the distance between the Earth and the Sun is 147 million kilometers, and this position is reached on or about 3rd January every year. When the Earth is farthest from the Sun, the position is called aphelion. At aphelion, the distance between the Earth and the Sun is 152 million kilometers, and this position is reached on 4th of July every year. Creation of heat zones. The spherical shape of the Earth, along with its movement around the Sun, causes difference in the angles at which the Sun's rays fall on the Earth's surface. This causes difference in the distribution of heat on the Earth's surface. As a result, the world has been divided into 3 distinct heat or temperature zones. So, starting with the torrid zone. The torrid zone lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. This region receives more or less the vertical rays of the Sun. As a result, this is the hottest region on Earth. The temperate zone lies between the Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. In this zone, the Sun's rays fall obliquely, and hence the region experiences a moderate climate. The frigid zone lies between the Arctic Circle and North Pole and the Antarctic Circle and South Pole. Since the sun's rays fall extremely obliquely in this region experiences extremely cold climate. Our next topic is solstices and equinoxes. The equinoxes and solstices are positions of the earth with respect to the sun on the given fixed dates, and these dates are June 21st, September 23rd, December 22nd and March 21st. Let's start with solstice. On June 21st, the earth is in a position where the north pole is tilted towards the sun. On this day, the sun is overhead at the Tropic of Cancer. This day is known as summer solstice. The southern hemisphere, however, is tilted away from the sun and experiences winter. On December 22nd, the southern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, while the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun. The sun is overhead at the Tropic of Capricorn. This day is known as winter solstice. It is summer in the southern hemisphere and winter in the northern hemisphere. On 2 days in a year, the sun shines vertically over the equator. These days are 21st March, known as spring or vernal equinox, and 23rd September, known as autumnal equinox. At the equinoxes, the days and nights are of equal length throughout the world. On 21st March, it is spring in the northern hemisphere, and on 23rd September, it is autumn. The position is reversed in the southern hemisphere. Our next topic is angle of incidence and duration of daylight. The angle of incidence of the sun's rays refers to the angle formed by the rays of sunlight hitting the earth's surface. So as you can see in this diagram, here the angle of incidence is 90 degrees, here it's 66.5 degrees, here it's 43 degrees, and so on. The angle of incidence is calculated by subtracting the value of the latitude in degrees from 90 degrees, the maximum reached at the equator. For example, at 66 degree 30-minute north latitude, the angle of incidence would be 90 degrees minus 66 degrees 30 minutes north, which is equal to 23 degree 30 minutes. Similarly, if the latitude of a station is 60 degree, the angle of incidence would be 90 degree minus 60 degree, which is equal to 30 degrees. But remember, the hours of daylight are always 12 hours at the equator, and they go on increasing or decreasing towards the poles depending upon the season. For example, if we are talking about the northern hemisphere, at the equator, daylight will be for 12 hours. But if it is summer season, then the length of the day will keep on increasing as we move towards the North Pole. Now let us understand the cycle of seasons. As explained earlier, the equinoxes and solstices are the positions of the earth with respect to the sun on the given fixed dates. And these dates, as I told you earlier, are 21st June, 23rd September, 22nd December and 21st March. They help us to understand how seasons occur and how they are reversed in the northern and southern hemispheres. Let us understand what happens on these 4 dates. Position on 21st June. On June 21st, the earth is in a position where the North Pole is tilted towards the sun. On this day, the sun is overhead at the Tropic of Cancer. This day is known as summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere has the longest day and the shortest night on 21st of June. The southern hemisphere, however, is tilted away from the sun and experiences winter. The duration of sunlight in the northern hemisphere increases from 12 hours at the equator to 13 hours and 27 minutes at the Tropic of Cancer and further to 24 hours at the Arctic Circle. Beyond the Arctic Circle, the region experiences 24 hours daylight. This phenomena is termed as midnight sun. The sun is visible only at a very low height, just above the horizon. This continues for almost 3 months up to the autumnal equinox. In the southern hemisphere, it is winter. After 21st of June, the hours of sunlight in the northern hemisphere begin to decrease from 12 hours at the equator to all nights and no days beyond the Arctic Circle. On 23rd September, the sun is vertically overhead at the equator and days and nights are equal. It is autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere. On 23rd September, the duration of sunlight is 12 hours on all places on Earth. On 22nd December, the southern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun and the sun is vertically overhead on the Tropic of Capricorn. So, the southern hemisphere experiences summer. Areas beyond the Antarctic Circle experience 24 hours of daylight. The South Polar region has 24 hours of daylight continuously for many days. It is summer in the southern hemisphere and winter in the northern hemisphere. After 22nd December, the sun again begins to move towards the equator, and on March 21st, the rays of the sun fall vertically over the equator. On this day, all places on the earth have equal days and nights. During this period, it is spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere. Twilight in low and high latitudes. No place on earth has an abrupt change from day to night or vice versa. There is a transition period between day and night as well as night and day. During this transition period, we experience diffused light. Much of this light is a reflection by clouds and dust particles present in the atmosphere. This occurs both before sunrise and after sunset. This period of diffused light between sunset and complete darkness is called dusk or twilight, and that between sunrise and full daylight is called dawn. The duration of twilight or dawn at a place depends on the path of the sun in the sky. In the low latitudes, that means those areas which are on the equator or close to the equator, the sun's path is almost vertical. So the duration of dawn or twilight is short. The sun rises or sinks below the horizon rapidly. On the other hand, the duration of dawn and twilight in the temperate latitudes is longer as the sun rises and sets in an oblique path. The twilight continues as long as the sun is 18 degrees below the horizon. As you can see in this diagram, this is the horizon. The sun sets and then it moves below the horizon. As long as it is 18 degrees below the horizon, there will be twilight, and after that, total darkness or night. In the same way, over here, the sun is 18 degrees below the horizon. That means it will be dawn at this time. And once the sun moves above the horizon, there will be total daylight. The duration of twilight or dawn is 1 hour and 12 minutes at the equator. It goes on increasing towards the poles. At the poles, the duration is 50 days long. The period of twilight and dawn is very important during winter in middle and high latitudes when the duration of sunlight is limited and nights are long. This concludes our third lesson, rotation and revolution. In this lecture, I explained the effects of revolution, solstice and equinox, the angle of incidence and the duration of daylight, the cycle of seasons, and finally twilight in low and high latitudes. Thank you and have a nice day.